welcome to the round 16 review after the Blues beat the Richmond Football Club by 61 points. Can you believe that? 61 points. It was 20 goals, 11, 131 to 10 goals, 10, 70 at the MCG. Man, it was cold. It was wet. It was a typical day at the footy in winter, rugged up, layers of clothing. It was awesome. It was the first time in a very long time that we've beaten up on Richmond by that much. And it definitely felt like a changing of the guard, turning of the tide. Spoke a bit about it last week with Geelong. This is now the second week in a row that we've won by 10 goals or so. And definitely took a moment to reflect on that. Definitely feeling, we're 6 points clear of second spot right now after 16 rounds. This is Dreamville, really. This is what we want. This is what we hoped for. We're living it. It's now. There's not much else to do other than just soak it up, really. I had a different experience at the footy yesterday. I was at the President's Club function. It's part of the Corey Durden sponsorship. So dressed up, shirt, tie, sweater, coat, all of it. Went there, ate Carlton put on really good functions when they do it. The food's always plentiful. Had a good steak. The dessert was good. Big buffet dessert, like this big ass table with, they looked like mushrooms and fruit, but they were all cakes. It was just awesome. Drank the champagne, drank the wine, took the 4 points. Yeah, different day. I don't usually do those type of functions. I do them once a year, pretty much, with the Corey Durden sponsorship. But I took my sister, who's never been to one of these functions. That was awesome. And yeah, we had a ball. We bumped into some people. Shout out to Jesse, who flew down from Perth. Finally got to meet you, which was awesome. Nick from Horizon Finance Group, sponsor of the rating show. He was there, and we just had a great, chilled, relaxing day at the footy. At no point yesterday did I feel that we were going to lose the game. I think the first half, the Tigers were, pretty into the game. I didn't feel that Carlton were generating as much energy with our run. Didn't see as much of that trademark overlap run. It was almost as if we were absorbing the game and just assessing what was happening and just waiting for our time to strike. There was always a confidence and a feeling that our time would come. And we've been talking about this for a few weeks now. I'm starting to watch the game management. First half, a lot of kick to kick, side to side, stretching the Richmond defense. They probably needed to be reminded at halftime as to elevate their intensity, especially with their run. And once that started coming in the third quarter, it was just awesome. Probably the start of the third quarter was a little bit, not kind of painful, just because there wasn't a lot happening. We weren't losing the match, but we weren't dominating the match. And it was almost as if we're all just waiting for the moment to come where they would just pile on the goals. And over the journey, a lot of you that watch have always recounted the days when you just knew. You just knew is what you would all say to me. Back in the day, we would sort of absorb, not play at our best in the first half, but the two words, you just knew that come the third quarter or the second half or the fourth quarter, that the Blues would pile on the goals and just run away with it. And I've never really understood it, if I'm honest with you. I've always listened to him like, oh, that sounds great. But I get it. Like, you just knew yesterday. There was just can't explain it. I can't back it up with data and a statistical breakdown of it. But you just knew that we were going to break the game apart. We were better. And our time would come, and it happened. Third quarter, pile on 7 goals in a row, even spread of goal kickers. Didn't even see Charlie or Harry really dominate the game on the scoreboard. We did see them in the scoring chains though, which was pleasing. And you get to the end of the game and you've got Fantasia kicking 4 goals, finally having the breakthrough. You've got Fogarty kicking 3 goals. These are 2 guys who, bless them, have not really impacted on the scoreboard as much as what we would all love to see them, and they finally did it. And when they're your leading goal kickers and you've got Charlie and Harry, Coleman medalists, and all sorts of names on the list, it's just awesome. I mean, you've got 11 goal kickers, and finally we're beating up on Richmond again. We're here. Hopefully it's another 10 years. For so long that Richmond were just so much better than us mentally. They never beat us by 10 goals though. I think they beat us by 43. That might have been 2017, but they never really put us to the sword. They were always better than us over the last 10 years, particularly in their premiership run. We would usually play them round 1 and they would just be too good. We'd put up a little bit of a fight, but they would always just be too good. It's good to see us do that to them now. They had a few out. They didn't have their best side. But I think Pommy said something on the fan cams yesterday, which I thought was telling. And it was, he said, it's not about the getting one back on them anymore and, tit for tat and going at people online and trying to prove a point to opposition supporters. Like, we're so beyond that. And I really did feel that when he said it. I really did feel that. Couldn't give 2 shits about any Richmond supporter that I'm not going to I'm going to message a Richmond supporter and say, hey, we beat you by 10 goals. Like, we're in a different realm right now. We've elevated. I had an interesting experience with just observing our own supporters as well at the game yesterday. And I don't want it to take away from how good yesterday was, but start of the game, had a gentleman behind me just laying into Fantasia. There was a passage of play early in the game. Fantasia goes to block and shepherd for Walsh. Walsh, I think, fumbles or turns it over. Richmond kick a goal. Guy screams out, "That's your goal, Fantasia." And I'm like, oh my God, really? Are we really still doing this, guys? Is that really what we're doing as supporters? Is that us? We've won 22 of our last 28 or something like that. And we're really, why do we heckle our own players? Why aren't we heckling the opposition? I don't understand. I don't get it. It was unfortunate because I didn't get to see him. He had left by the time Fantasia had kicked his 3rd and his 4th, so I didn't quite get to see his reaction. But that narrative, surely that, we're beyond that, I would have thought. And then the other one was Pitto. I'm just hearing it in the crowd, we're so slow with Pitto. And then I had my moment in the 3rd quarter. We've blitzed them. And I'm like, gee, we look pretty quick with Pitto all of a sudden. Can I ask, where has this narrative come from that we're slower with Pitto? And why is it Pitto? Why isn't it that the midfield looks slower because their work rate hadn't elevated? In the first half, I thought our midfield's work rate wasn't anywhere as much as what I saw in the second half. And therefore, we looked quicker because there was more intensity, there was more overlap run, more handball chains. The other narrative around, when Pitto plays, we can't score off turnover. Okay, well, we score 96 points off turnover. I just feel it's okay now. The scar tissue, I understand, decades of disappointment. Mate, I don't give a fuck anymore. Shut up. Get over it. It actually is, it's going to ruin the enjoyment for a generation of supporters. It's not about you anymore and your insecurities and what you're angry about in your life. There is a generation of supporters right now that are experiencing this run for the very first time. So whatever you want to bring to the football, and everyone's entitled to support however they like, but I'm just letting you know, there are a generation of supporters that are experiencing this for the first time, and you're a fucking buzzkill. So just stop it. Just fucking stop it. You don't know more than what the coaches know. You don't know what's going on the inside. So respectfully, shut up and enjoy the football and enjoy the show. This is the greatest fucking Carlton team that we've seen in a generation. And so let's just maybe, I don't know, potentially just fucking enjoy it because it's awesome. We're going to lose games. It's going to happen. But what else do they need to prove? What else do they need to prove for us to just sit back and enjoy the show? First quarter, I'm hearing people this is boring. Why haven't we beaten them? Well, I thought we were going to dominate. I'm like, what do you want? What do you want? Anyway, I had to get that off my chest because it's so annoying. It really is. It's just like, I think people just talk without thinking sometimes. And, whatever. You can't tell people what to do, but you can tell people how you feel about what they do. And you can make them think about it. And maybe they can choose their words wisely. I think Pito coming in on short notice, laid out with TDK. I think he was great. He's missed a bit of footy, maybe needed a bit to warm up and get into it, but we're blessed. It's a luxury. We've got Pito on the list now, which allows Tom to stay fresh. We know Tom's got incredible talent, super athletic. His strength is now starting to match that athleticism and the experience. And we can get to a point now where we can rest Tom de Koning in round 16 of a season and make sure he's fresh for, the end of the year, the right time. It's awesome. It's fantastic. I think Pito plays an important role in this list. Is he going to be there forever, every week? I don't know. I'll just let Vossi and the coaches decide that because they'll know better than me. So I thought that was a really positive factor of the day, the fact that we made a late change to a pretty important position, and we were able to see that dominance stay there, particularly at stoppage and specifically scoring off turnover and just moving that narrative away from whatever we're looking for. It seems like people are looking for what's wrong. All I'm seeing out there in the field right now is what's right, and that's that. Really unfortunate about Matt Kennedy hurting his knee. I reckon he did something similar this time last year against Freo. So hopefully it's not too serious at the time of filming this. Don't know the severity of it, but seems like he's going to miss a little bit of time. So that's unfortunate. I think Chera coming back looked super sharp. I thought he might take a few weeks to get his touch back, but he looked sharp. He ran over the ground very well. And again, talk about luxuries. Round 16, Richmond, he's missed a big chunk of the season. He comes in and you can sub him out because the game's been iced. Great. So it's all about timing. We're going to go on a run. This is it. The backstory, we've all lived it. We've lived through the worst of it. We are now seeing the best of it, and it's just the beginning of it. And before we know it, we'll be back to where Richmond are, and that's footy, and that's just the way it goes. So you got to enjoy it. You really do. I think I'm just really happy for Fantasia just to have that breakthrough. I keep talking about Lockie Cowan. There's something about this kid. I've seen it the last few weeks. I think he's said it on the fan cams. The word generational talent gets thrown out. And I know it's just such a crazy phrase to use, but I just think he's got something else. Got to lock that boy away. Lock him away forever. I think he's got, he does. He was the captain of the Tasmanian team at state level as a kid, as a junior. I just think he's got that in him at AFL level. He's so young, and defense in the AFL is really difficult. His position that he plays is really difficult for, senior guys above 25, 26 years of age to play, and he just does it at his age. It's remarkable. Some of the work I saw him do on Shea Bolton at certain stages was just awesome. He's got no fear. He gets into his opponent. He's got a touch of class about him, but he's got a bit of grunt as well. He's got it all, and he's learning off some really experienced heads down there. So, yeah, just a good win, a 10-goal win, a relaxing 10-goal win. Talk about our captain, Patrick Cripps. I thought he set up the game pretty well. He set the tone in the first quarter, quietened up a little bit in the second, but that third quarter was... It's crazy. It's like 16 touches and a goal. Just a really strong performance from him. I gave him player of the game. I thought Nick Newman was doing a bit. There were a couple doing a bit. There were a couple doing a lot. But yeah, so many storylines. Such an even spread. Such a team performance and a really enjoyable day at the footy. And, I'm just trying to think about how to stay present at all times right now. Because I know that one day, we'll look back on the first year that they broke the greatest premiership drought in the club's history. Like, that's what we're living through right now. Up until we win that first one, we are right now living through the greatest drought in the club's history. So, you know, we will look back and be like, oh, I remember when they broke the drought. And I don't know if it's going to be this year. I hope it will. I think we can do it this year. And if this is it, like, you've just got to be aware of every moment and soaking it up. Because before you know it, it's in the past, it's a memory. And I would just hate to look back and be like, oh, I didn't enjoy it as much as I should have because I was too busy talking about how slow we look with Pitto in the ruck, or, I mean, fucking hell. Anyway, what were your thoughts from yesterday in round 16? Themes and issues that popped up from the game or post-game, things that you saw that caught your attention. Let me know in the comments below, and look forward to unpacking this. It's going to be a pretty quick turnaround because it was a Sunday match, but we'll get there. Take care, guys. Go Blues.